dim glow of a rainy afternoon, Aisha collapsed onto the cold tile floor of her empty apartment, clutching a tiny, faded ultrasound photo that had once promised a future filled with laughter and first steps. The image blurred through her tears as sobs racked her body, each one a dagger twisting deeper into her soul. Her baby, her precious little girl, gone before she could even draw her first breath. The miscarriage had come like a thief in the night, stealing not just the life growing inside her, but the fragile threads of her marriage. Her husband, Marcus, had packed his bags the very next week, muttering excuses about needing space, while his eyes betrayed the truth. He blamed her, as if her body had failed them both on purpose. "How could this happen to us?" she whispered to the empty room, her voice breaking like fragile glass. The world outside buzzed on indifferently, but inside Aisha, a storm raged, a hurricane of grief that threatened to drown her forever. She rocked back and forth, the photo pressed to her chest, wondering if the pain would ever let her breathe again. Aisha woke up the next morning with a pounding headache, the remnants of last night's breakdown scattered around her like shattered dreams. An empty wine bottle, tissues soaked in sorrow, and that cursed ultrasound photo tucked hastily under her pillow. She stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her dark brown eyes hollow, her coiled hair unkempt and wild. "This isn't real," she told herself firmly, splashing cold water on her face. "It's just a bad dream. Marcus will call any minute, apologize, and we'll try again. Babies come back in stories, right? Miracles happen." Denial wrapped around her like a suffocating blanket, warm and deceptive, shielding her from the raw truth that her world had crumbled. She forced herself into routine, dressing in her favorite emerald green blouse, the one Marcus had said made her skin glow like polished ebony, and heading to work at the community center where she counseled at-risk youth. The kids there were her anchor, or so she pretended. Little Jamal, a wiry 10-year-old with a gap-toothed grin, bounded up to her as soon as she arrived. "Miss Aisha, you look tired. Did you stay up watching those sad movies again?" he teased, but his eyes held a wisdom beyond his years, born from his own losses in the foster system. Aisha forced a smile, ruffling his hair. "Nah, kiddo. Just didn't sleep well. What's on your mind today?" They sat in her small office, posters of empowerment quotes plastered on the walls. "Rise above. You are enough," mocking her silently. Jamal talked about his absent father, how it hurt, but he was over it. And Aisha nodded, offering advice she couldn't follow herself. "Pain doesn't define you, Jamal. It's what you do with it that matters." "Hypocrite," her inner voice sneered. As the day wore on, the facade cracked. During lunch, a colleague mentioned her own pregnancy glow, and Aisha excused herself to the bathroom, where the pain hit like a tidal wave. She gripped the sink, tears streaming. "Why me? What did I do wrong?" The questions looped endlessly in her mind, a tormenting chorus. Memories flooded in. The doctor's somber face, Marcus's cold detachment, the empty nursery she'd painted in soft pastels. That evening, she wandered the streets of Harlem, the vibrant energy of the neighborhood clashing with her inner turmoil. Street vendors hawked fragrant jerk chicken, kids laughed on stoops, but Aisha felt like a ghost among the living. She stopped at a small park, sitting on a bench where an elderly woman named Miss Evelyn often held court. Miss Evelyn, with her silver braids and knowing smile, was a neighborhood staple, a retired nurse who'd seen more heartbreaks than most. "Child, you look like you're carrying the world on those shoulders," she said, patting the seat beside her. Aisha hesitated, then sat, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "I lost my baby. And my husband. Everything's gone." Miss Evelyn listened without interruption, her wrinkled hand covering Aisha's. "Denial's a tricky beast, honey. It whispers lies to keep the pain at bay, but eventually, you gotta face it. Pain ain't your enemy. It's your teacher." They talked for hours as dusk fell, Miss Evelyn sharing her own story of losing a child to illness decades ago. "I screamed at God, cursed the world. But holding on to that anger? It nearly killed me." Aisha felt a flicker of connection, a small victory in admitting her hurt aloud. Yet as she walked home, the pain clawed back, sharper now. In bed that night, she hugged a pillow, imagining it was her unborn child, whispering apologies into the darkness. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you." The tears came again, But this time, they felt like a release, a crack in the dam of denial. Small steps, she thought, but the journey ahead loomed endless and daunting. Weeks blurred into a haze as Aisha teetered on the edge of her grief, denial giving way to a deeper introspection. She took a leave from work, booking a spontaneous flight to Atlanta to visit her estranged sister, hoping distance would bring clarity. I need to reflect, to figure out who I am without all this, she journaled on the plane, her pen scratching furiously against the page. The cabin was crowded, a symphony of murmurs and engine hums, but Aisha's mind was a whirlwind of memories. She reflected on her childhood in a tight-knit family, how her mother's strength had inspired her, yet here she was, broken. Am I weak for falling apart? She wondered silently. Or is this the path to something stronger? The flight turned chaotic when a baby's incessant cries pierced the air. Seated a few rows ahead was a man in an impeccably tailored suit, clearly wealthy, his watch gleaming under the overhead lights, cradling a squirming infant. Whispers rippled through the passengers. That's Elias Thorne, the tech billionaire. Poor guy, traveling alone with his kid. Elias looked exhausted, bouncing the baby futilely, his face etched with frustration. Shoo, little one, please, he muttered, but the cries only grew louder, drawing irritated glares. Aisha's heart twisted. The sound was a dagger, dredging up her own loss, the phantom cries she'd imagined in quiet nights. Part of her wanted to plug her ears, retreat into her pain. But as she watched, reflection deepened. This man, with all his billions, was as helpless as she felt. The baby wasn't a reminder of failure, it was a call to action. Slowly, she unbuckled her seatbelt and approached, her voice soft. Excuse me, sir. May I help? I know a thing or two about soothing little ones. Elias looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes. Please, if you can. She's been like this since takeoff. Aisha gently took the baby, a tiny girl with chubby cheeks and tear-streaked face, into her arms. Drawing from memories of lullabies her mother sang, she began to hum softly, rocking with a rhythm born of instinct. Hush now, sweet girl, she whispered, her voice weaving warmth through the cabin. The baby's cries softened to whimpers, then silence, as she nestled against Aisha's chest. Passengers watched, hearts melting, a few wiped tears. Elias stared in awe. How did you? It's just a mother's touch, Aisha replied, her own eyes misty. In that moment, holding the child, reflection crystallized into growth. She realized her pain hadn't erased her capacity for love, it had deepened it. I've lost so much, she thought, but I can still give. Handing the baby back, she shared a quiet conversation with Elias, who opened up about his wife's recent passing, leaving him a single father. Wealth can't buy peace, he admitted. Their exchange sparked wisdom. Strangers could be mirrors, reflecting our shared humanity. Landing in Atlanta, Aisha felt lighter. She spent days with her sister, talking through the trauma, forgiving Marcus in her heart, and embracing self-acceptance. I'm not broken. I'm healing, she affirmed in the mirror one morning. Small victories accumulated, volunteering at a local shelter, where a young mother thanked her for advice that echoed Miss Evelyn's. Back home, she cleared the nursery, transforming it into a space for art and renewal, painting vibrant canvases that symbolized rebirth. In time, Aisha found emotional peace, her scars not erased, but woven into her strength. She mentored others, her journey a beacon. The simple act on that flight had been her turning point, reminding her that healing came not in isolation, but through connection. Renewed, she stepped into the world with open arms, ready to embrace whatever came next. Moral of the story. In the depths of heartbreak, true healing begins when we move beyond denial and pain, embracing reflection to foster personal growth. It teaches us that inner strength isn't about erasing our wounds, but transforming them into sources of empathy and connection, proving that even in our darkest moments, a simple act of kindness can illuminate the path to self-acceptance and renewal for ourselves and others.